25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Are you a person who gravitates toward those videos on YouTube that have prophecy? And if you're older than the YouTube phenomenon, and which is where I am, maybe you were somebody who picked up books like The Late Great Planet Earth, or you picked up books or remember watching TV shows that would be about prophecy, or maybe you went to maybe a church outing, and one of the churches that you went to had rented a film to show at the church, and the film professed to be giving information that was prophetic in nature, and in all of those cases, I can't think of an exception to this, but in all of those cases, the prophecies always show something horrible that's going to happen. I mean, our lives are going to be turned upside down. The world is going to be run amok. But there's also the good news, is that after all of this terrible, terrible stuff happens, it becomes really good. It becomes really good on the planet, right? I found myself is more accurate than to say I find myself currently, in the present tense, attracted to those things. I used to look at them all the time, and I got to the point where there were so many people who were predicting specific dates, and those dates would come and go. It's like, hello, I don't think somebody got it wrong. So it's not that I would question the prophecy, especially if you can point to it biblically. I mean, I wouldn't question God's word, but maybe we misinterpret the word and think we know the date, and that's part of the problem that I think I had with some of the things. We even had Hal Lindsey on, by the way, who wrote The Late Great Planet Earth. On the phone is Dr. Pastor Bob Thiel. He's known as the Cog Writer. He's a highly regarded, award-winning researcher. He's the overseer and pastor for the Continuing Church of God. He's a writer of articles and commentaries that appear on his philosophy and religion website, which is cogwriter.com, and he's got a book. The title alone will get you talking. It's whether you're for Hillary Clinton or not. The book is called Hillary Clinton, Prophecy and the Destruction of the United States. Wow.
Wow.
What an inflammatory title that is. Is Hillary Clinton fulfilling biblical, Islamic, Catholic, hope, and other American-related prophecies? What about Republican leaders? Let's talk to Dr. Pastor Bob Thiel. Good morning, Doctor. How do I address you, Dr. Pastor?
No, don't. Double titles aren't necessary.
Okay. Well, Pastor.
Most people call me Dr. Thiel, but if you want to call me Bob, I mean, that's fine.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on there. Where are you calling from?
Royal Grande, California.
Oh, that sounds nice. Royal Grande.
Yeah.
Sounds nice. Sounds like a Taco Bell.
Meal.
So, okay. Are you a prophet?
To some degree.
Okay, but are your prophecies like, do they come to you in your sleep? Like who would that be? Edgar Casey, or do they come from reading the Bible, or both?
My biblical understanding is what the prophecies in the book are based upon. Yes, I've had a couple of dreams, but none of those are actually in the book. The book is based on biblical prophecies, but it also explains how people will be misled or by other prophecies, but I also throw in prophecies that I find interesting from other cultures. Now, I've been accused before of how dare I quote non-biblical prophecies since I believe the Bible. But when I read the Bible, I saw when the Apostle Paul was talking around in Athens,
right.
He noticed some things, and he pointed these things out to people.
Can I real quickly? Can I interrupt you? Your signal is a little broken up. Are you possibly on a cell phone?
Oh, no, this is a straight landline.
Straight landline, okay. I don't know why it's sounding so... I mean, we're understanding what you're saying, but it almost sounds like...
Underwater.
Yeah, the underwater sound. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Normally, I don't have that problem on radio. I usually use this line.
Oh, it just cleared up. It just cleared up as you were talking.
Amazing.
Okay, all right. Well, all right. Now, and when you hear...
Love that.
When you hear the recording later on, you'll hear what we were talking about, because you can't hear it on your end. But anyway, now it's cleared up.
Great.
All right, so tell me specifically about Hillary Clinton. Why do you focus the book on her?
Well, the reason I focused the book on her was not because I was anti-Hillary Clinton per se. I will start off by saying I've never been a fan. Ever since Hillary Clinton had Hillary Care years ago, decades ago. Actually, I wrote a national article about it, why I didn't like that. I've not been a big fan of hers, but by looking at certain prophecies in the Bible, specifically in the book of Isaiah, about women ruling toward the end times, that got my attention. Then when I did some more research on this book, I ran across other predictions and other people who thought various things were predicting Hillary Clinton. And whether or not she will become the next president of the United States, I'm not going to sit here and tell your listeners that, because I don't know. Okay? Unless I'm reading from the Bible, I don't say, "Thus says the Lord," and something's going to happen that's not going to happen. As an aside, by the way, when you mentioned people who had false dates, etc., one thing that made my website very, very popular years ago was a very long article about Harold Camping. You all might recall him. He said Jesus was going to come May 21st. The Bible guarantees it, blah, blah, blah. There were signs all over the place. I wrote, I don't know, like a 50-page article explaining why his calculations were wrong, everything he had done was wrong. And my book, by the way, does not have any particular date that the world is going to end. I want to start off with that.
Okay. And I wasn't implying that. I was basically just giving an overview of my thoughts on, not that I don't think prophecy is possible, or especially biblical prophecy. I just don't know that people have interpreted it correctly. Even somebody I
totally agree with you.
Even somebody I respect a lot, like Hal Lindsey. I think Hal Lindsey is outstanding, but I think he got some of it wrong.
Yes, and I've saw him recently, not personally. I saw his program, I don't know, a week or two ago, and he has certain things that are right. Unfortunately, if you go back to what he originally wrote in Late Great Planet Earth and some of the dates he expected, etc., he got some things wrong. And he's got some things, in my view, that are currently wrong. On the other hand, he and some others who've looked at biblical prophecies have made comments like, when you look at what the Bible talks about, at the time of the end they talk about a king of the north, kings from the east, a king of the south, but nothing like a king of the west. And which would be perhaps representative of the United States. And so he and others wondered, when or how or what's going to happen. He's got his views. I don't agree with all of them, but I do agree with him that at a certain point in time, when the Antichrist power is ruling, the country we've grown up in, known as the United States, will not exist as it currently is. We don't know when that's going to be, but that would be consistent not only with my view, but views of people such as Hal Lindsey that you mentioned.
Why would this is more of a broad-based philosophical God question, but why would God even allow anybody to come into power who would totally obliterate the world? I mean, I ask that question knowing full well we've had our share of them. We've had our Hitlers and other dictators in history. But I don't understand why it happens. I don't understand why God allows it to happen.
Well, if you'd like to have me back on for an in-depth philosophical, theological discussion, I would provide that. But right now I'll give you an overview. In my view, looking at the Bible, and this is also consistent with the view of early Christians. Early Christians believed that God gave humankind roughly 6,000 years to do things more or less their way. Oh yes, there's some who will listen to God, etc. But basically, at the end of 6,000 years, Jesus would return and set up the millennial kingdom of God. You didn't use those expressions when you were giving your opening monologue here, but you indicated that when you look at prophecies. Look, these prophecies that you remember hearing seem pretty bad, but then afterwards things get better. And that view has pretty much been consistent within Christianity, at least those who believe the Bible,
right.
From the beginning. Now, it gets complicated as to why. Now, Jesus said it was going to happen, and he said in Matthew 24, unless those days are shortened, no flesh should be saved alive, but for the elect's sake, it will be. I believe, and I'll try to be as succinct on this as possible, I believe that what's going to happen is, if you read the book of Revelation, it talks about a couple of different resurrections. And if you read the book of Genesis, and probably most of your listeners are familiar with the first chapter of the book of Genesis. The book of Genesis, it talks about God made this, that, and the other thing. When it was done, he said it was good. Okay? You read what Jesus said in Matthew, it says things are going to get pretty bad. So I believe that with what's called the second resurrection, which is discussed in the book of Revelation chapter 20 and other parts of the Bible, that when everybody who ever lived, the rest of the dead, as it calls them, in the second resurrection, come up. They are going to be able to contrast how the planet looked after Jesus ruled for 1,000 years compared to how humankind ruled for 6,000 years. And basically, people at the beginning of the millennium are going to start with a planet that's in very, very bad shape and end up with a planet that's in very, very good shape. In contrast to the situation with Adam and Eve, that they start off very good, and then by the time Jesus comes, it's going to be bad. And then it gets pretty theological beyond that, so I figured maybe that's enough of an overview.
All right, Pastor Bob, we have to take a little break, and we'll be right back. Fascinating stuff. The book, hold on, the book is called Hillary Clinton, Prophecy and the Destruction of the United States. Dr. Pastor Bob Thiel is our guest out in California, and we'll give you websites and other information toward the end of the interview. Plus, we are recording this so you can share it and watch it later on. We'll be right back. I've got to push a few buttons here. Do the weather, and we'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Today, partly sunny, a high of 88 to 91. Then tonight, mainly clear skies, a low of 70 to 76. Tomorrow, to start the weekend, partly sunny, a thunderstorm in parts of the area for the afternoon, a high of 89 to 94. And then to round out the weekend on Sunday, partly sunny, a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon, a high of 88 to 96. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Evan Duffy.
Are you tired of not using your home's outdoor space for entertaining or relaxation because of all the bugs and leaves? Consider adding a beautiful screen room or glass enclosure. We are Superior Aluminum and Design, a family-owned and operated business with 20 years experience in the aluminum industry, and we are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you appreciate superior workmanship, call Superior Aluminum and Design at 817-8058 or visit us on the web at superiораluminumdesign.com.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
R&D Tactical Solutions, Ocala's indoor gun range. 12 climate-controlled, state-of-the-art lanes. R&D Tactical Solutions, full retail store, everything from firearms to CCW classes. Located next to the Supervisor of Elections. Open 9 to 7 weekdays, 9 to 5 Saturdays, and 10 to 4 Sundays. Call 622-7468. R&D Tactical Solutions, Ocala's indoor gun range. Call 622-7468.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood, and when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then, I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me. My situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
All right, 10 minutes rather before 11 o'clock. 10 minutes to get a lot of information, and I don't think we'll be able to do it. I think the book is going to be the way we get the information. Mm-hmm. The book is called Hillary Clinton, Prophecy and the Destruction of the United States. Dr. Pastor Bob Thiel is the author of the book, and he's on the phone. Okay, I know that you mentioned in the notes that were given to me that you give reasons why Hillary Clinton is apocalyptic, how you say that word, and that other prophecies besides Christian, like Native American and Buddhist, etc., also seem to be pointing in the same direction. So before I ask you any of those questions, I have this. Why would, and maybe there's a real reason here, and I sort of can think of it, but why would somebody who's being set up, groomed, if you will, to become like a world leader to represent the devil, why would that person have so many marks against her? In this case, would be Hillary. For example, the debacle in Benghazi. For example, some of the other times she dropped the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, so many different things that will be she'll have to answer for before ever getting elected to be president. And could she still fulfill these prophecies if she wasn't president?
Okay, good, very good points. First of all, the answer to the second question is yes. And by the way, my book does discuss Benghazi, Travelgate, Whitewater, and some of those other type of things. As far as Satan's plan, at risk of offending some people out there, I consider, for example, the homosexual agenda part of it. I think people are allowed to be homosexuals, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that, what the United States Constitution is written, but I think what the agenda is going forth. When Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State of the United States of America, and many people don't realize this, but one of the reasons we have tough relations currently with Russia is that she tried to force her morality, or immorality in this case, on the Russian government, tried to tell them they had to come up with a homosexual policy that she approved. This offended the foreign minister of Russia. Now, I didn't know this until I read Hillary's book, Hard Choices. She listed that one of her 4 priorities as Secretary of State was pushing her views of the LGBT agenda. That's just to give one.
And I'm not trying to support or give you a hard time, but I'm just asking you this: in the church that I grew up in, which was a Lutheran church, I would have been told by the pastor there that if somebody is doing something that the Bible considers a sin, that you should love the person and hate the sin.
Correct. I totally agree.
Okay. So with that said, I mean, shouldn't we embrace people rather than judge them? Just as we embrace people who've committed adultery, we embrace people who've committed robberies.
Yeah, who've killed people.
And I'm not saying.
Well, but
I'm just.
But we don't tell people to go out and kill more people. We don't tell people to go out and commit more adultery, and we don't go as a matter of U.S. public policy to offend nations such as Russia, because we want them to change to a view that Hillary Clinton supposedly didn't hold 20 years before when her husband was president.
Okay. Well, how
to me, I felt that was inappropriate on her part. She can have her own personal beliefs on the subject, don't get me wrong, but as a matter of U.S. government policy, I found that.
Okay. So how does the Bible or any other religious doctrine specifically point to Hillary?
Okay. The Bible specifically warns that female leaders are going to rise up. There's Hopi Indian prophecies that suggest that a female is going to help set up the Antichrist power over in Europe. The Dalai Lama, on the other hand, who's a Buddhist, he actually said that the world is going to be saved by the Western woman, and some people have interpreted that to mean that Hillary Clinton is going to be the savior of the planet. Now, I disagree that she will be, but those are various prophecies that some have indicated could point to Hillary Clinton. Now, there's a Catholic prophecy that says the United States is going to be destroyed because of its immorality. Let's leave it at that, I suppose, and certain things that Hillary Clinton has promoted. Now, as far as Hillary herself, she's fairly ecumenical, and while I believe all religions should try to get along, I think that's fantastic. I think the idea that they all needed to be melded together, which is something Hillary Clinton has indicated, I think is inappropriate. Now, the end of April, Hillary Clinton basically, in a speech, said that religion needs to be changed to basically her views, that people should not be able to hold a religious view that's more or less contrary to hers, and that people should be educated in basically her type of religion, because she feels that the Bible, for example, she didn't say the Bible specifically, but I believe that was one of the things she was referring to.
But a lot of people say that.
Conform to her views.
It is truly a foolish thing to say, whether she said it or anybody else said it. I mean, I have it all the time. I have people knocking on my door wanting to change my religion. I have people handing me brochures. I have atheists telling me, come on, think for a second. It's logical. There is no God. And I would say, come on, why don't you think a little bit? I've thought about this a lot. So I mean, people will try all the time to persuade you to see that they are the ones who are the only ones with the answer.
I understand that, but typically in the United States, political leaders, specifically those who are trying to become president of the United States, usually don't go to try to advocate that type of a change.
And for that reason, why would anybody vote for her? I think a lot of people would see through that.
Oh, I hope so. Right now, I was looking this morning what appears the strategy is going to be. It's going to be more of an emotional appeal. She doesn't want people, of course, to focus on Benghazi, Travelgate, Whitewater, etc. What she'd like them to do is to believe that because of how her mother was mistreated and how she was raised, etc., she truly understands the poor and the afflicted and the middle class, and that therefore she will have their best interest at heart, and that's why they should support her. Now, she may have a different strategy for her election, but that at this instant seems to be that, plus her name recognition, and the fact much of the mainstream media wants to have her. Now, they know that there's problems with her, and if she causes too many issues, I think they'll turn on her. But if they believe it's between her and, let's say, a less socially liberal candidate, I believe the media will back her, and because the predominant media will help get people to support her.
It's kind of hard to argue with that, but try to make the connection for us with the bigger, more bold statement that you're making, that she is part of the destruction of the United States.
Her policies have done so. Okay, for example, she goes out. She went out in her book, Hard Choices, and wrote that she and Barack Obama repaired the damage that she claims that the Bush administration did between the United States and Europe, on the one hand. On the other hand, she seems to support the espionage, if you will, that the United States has done on the Europeans and others. She condemned Edward Snowden in her book and didn't apologize for her support of this type of espionage, which I believe has totally upset the Europeans. If you read European press, specifically German press, specifically those which are translated into English because I don't read German, you'll see that they are outraged by the fact that, according to the Snowden leaks, the United States only has, the only friends the United States has that they don't have to spy on were the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. That was it. And that Germany was spied on as much as China and Russia.
Well, and I wouldn't argue with any of the things you're saying right there. I guess I'm trying to find out. I guess I have to read the book to find out why she would be somehow the puppet of the devil, or the devil herself.
She is one. She's not the only person.
Okay, all right. The book is called Hillary Clinton, Prophecy and the Destruction of the United States, and with about a minute and a couple seconds to go, give us a way to learn more about you and buy the book, and et cetera.
Okay. All right. Well, first to buy the book, you can simply go to HillaryClintonProphecy.com or HillaryProphecy.com, and it's also, the book is sold on Amazon.
Okay.
Okay, that would be the easiest, fastest way. To learn about me, you mentioned one of my websites, cogwriter.com. There's all kinds of articles and such on there. Those would be the easiest ways. Now, if your listeners would like a free copy of the book, we just got a number. It's called 929-HILLARY. And if whoever's the third caller that we get a message from, we'll send a free copy of the book. All you have to do is give your name and address. And we don't telemarket, we don't follow up and all that kind of stuff.
929-HILLARY?
Yes. We couldn't get any other prefix with the word Hillary that was available. So I got 929-HILLARY. I know it's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, but with electronics these days, we can retrieve that information.
Well, it is fascinating, and I'll be honest with you, I am attracted to prophecy talk, but I am very reluctant to embrace it straight off the bat, so I apologize if I wasn't embracing it completely. Pastor Bob Thiel, thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Maybe sometime we can talk about the debt, too.
Fascinating stuff.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
96.3 FM, The Source.
Thoughts,
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The president's wrapped up his Capitol Hill meeting where he made a case for his trade bill, which is getting a House vote.
Fast Track, which is the White House's top legislative priority, would give the president authority to negotiate trade deals that Congress could approve or reject, but not amend.
Fox Radio's John Decker. An Iowa tradition ending. GOP officials have agreed to end the straw poll amid weakening interest from presidential hopefuls. And an update on the investigation into the prison escape by two killers. Authorities believe David Sweat and Richard Matt cut their way out of their cell in upstate New York using power tools. Female prison employees suspected of helping them.
Joyce Mitchell, based on our investigation, has not provided power tools. She has not.